This has been a while since I did something of long format. I have been working a lot on Instagram lately, and I felt like it was time to come back to YouTube, because this is where my true passion is as well. I mean, I love talking about stuff. I love spreading my thoughts. I love talking about everything that I feel is interesting. And I'm sitting here on my porch at the moment, so if you hear cars or people walking around, that's totally fine, because there's a road outside here. But you can see the beautiful scenery here. Like, this is... The house that I'm living in right now is the best house I have ever lived. It's so good. And we have a little bit of rainforest around us, and I've got 5 minutes down to the beach. So it's pretty awesome to be here in this moment. Always being present, right? But in this video, I'm going to talk about why it's so important to embrace change and uncertainty and solitude if you want to live a good life, in my opinion. When I was younger, I used to be absolutely addicted being around people. I used to be scared of being by myself. I had this memory in my old apartment in Sweden, and for some reason I was like alone on a weekend, and that never happened. I was always around people, always. And I was just having anxiety, almost panic coming on to me. If I didn't sit by the computer, I was feeling anxious all the time. I had to sit by my computer, and I had to like engage with something all the time. I was afraid of my own thoughts. I was afraid of my own sensations, my own emotions in my body. And this is the problem when we spend too much time with people. We become almost afraid or scared of just being with our own sensations in our body. And this is the problem, because this is going to create anxiety. This is going to create resistance. This is going to create suffering in us, right? I remember this specific time. I had to like sit down on the couch, and I asked myself, why am I feeling this way? All I'm doing right now is that I am by myself. I have nothing to really be scared of. I have nothing to really be anxious about. But yet, just by not being around people, I was feeling out of place. I was feeling suffering. I was suffering a lot. So I made a decision then to try and get myself feeling comfortable being alone. And this was just, I think this was just like a few months before I left Sweden to go to Australia and live here. And obviously, since coming to Australia, I've been here for 4 years now. Every year has been the best year of my life. Like, I have nothing bad to say about Australia. Like, this journey has just made so much sense now when I can connect the dots backwards. But I made a decision then I needed to become comfortable just being by myself. So this was the thing that actually started my self-realization journey. I just wanted to become comfortable being myself. I wanted to become the best I could at being myself. As we all know, if we are on a self-realization journey, or if we like spirituality, all suffering is mental. Suffering comes from the mind. Suffering comes from not agreeing with the sensations, feelings, emotions we're feeling in our body. It's like pushing everything away, right? So, and it's the mental resistance we make with the mind towards our bodily sensations and emotions. That is suffering. So, and I was suffering a lot here. I was desperate of trying to find a solution. Some days I thought that I was going crazy. But if you're in this moment right now, you're not going crazy. You're just figuring out your way to live a better life. You're figuring out your way to authenticity. So there and then I made the decision that I was going to become the best I could at being myself. That means transcending suffering. Never suffering again, right? That's the journey I'm on. That's one of my highest priorities in my own life. About not suffering ever. About dealing with life with absolutely no resistance to anything. So coming here to Australia 4 years ago, this sort of solitude period in my life started, and it has been the best thing. It has been the absolute best teacher in my life. Spending time by yourself and embracing that change and uncertainty that I did when I traveled by myself to Australia was what I needed to break free. Because when I was by myself in Australia, I remember I was walking the streets, and I was preparing myself to feel bad. I was preparing myself to feel not necessarily bad, but I was preparing myself to feel lost. I was preparing myself to feel lonely, you know? I did not expect myself to end up on the beach with naked women and drink pina coladas, you know? I had no expectations whatsoever. I actually expected myself that it was going to be really tough for the first couple of weeks. And that is exactly what happened. So for the first time in my life, I had no expectations of a future, because that is what expectations do to us. Expectations make us suffer because we think that this thing needs to happen. And if it doesn't happen this way, then I'm not going to agree with it, you know? So if the desired thing actually happens, we're not necessarily gonna get happy because we expected it to happen. So we're gonna be like, oh, well, that was meant to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then we will suffer because it didn't happen, right? So I learned this way by traveling to Australia. I had decided that, okay, this is gonna be shit now. I'm not gonna try and get myself out of a bad state. I'm gonna agree with my suffering. So that was the first time I actually opened myself up to suffering or pain. That was when my journey started, embracing change, embracing uncertainty, embracing solitude. Because in those moments when I was walking the streets by myself, or laying on the beach by myself, or doing a lot of stuff by myself, that is when our things that we have been running from is going to come up to surface. Because if we keep pushing things down, if we keep pushing things away, and we say to ourselves that, I'm not going to be a part of this, I'm not going to feel this thing, you know, how are we ever supposed to heal that? How are we ever supposed to become the best we can at being ourselves if we're not comfortable feeling things that we have been through? It's like, you can think to yourself, I think it's pretty common to think that this trauma that I have, I need to get rid of that. I need to get rid of these memories, I need to get rid of whatever happened in the past. But I hate to break it to you, it's not going anywhere. The only thing for you to be comfortable with your trauma is to be comfortable with your trauma. It's to learn and teach your nervous system that whatever happened, happened. And that it has nothing to do with you. It's just fragments of memories happening in your mind, triggering certain emotions that you walk around and suffer from. So the way to heal this is to obviously become friends with your trauma. Familiarize yourself with your trauma. Familiarize yourself with uncertainty, change, solitude. Because there's actually so much beauty in being 100% comfortable being by yourself. You don't have to be lonely being alone. You know, there's a massive difference in being alone and being lonely. Because lonely, you're gonna feel like something is missing. Something is lacking inside of you, right? But if you're being alone, it's just like, oh, I'm alone right now, awesome. You know, I can do what I want. So that's why it's so important to embrace these things. But obviously, if we are scared of change, uncertainty, solitude, then what is required is courage. Why courage? Because courage is required when we face something that is scary to us, right? That is the emotion that we need to pursue something that is scary. So courage is what is needed to embrace change, to embrace uncertainty, to embrace solitude, right? And once you do, you're gonna realize that it's pretty damn addictive. It's pretty awesome to just walk around and not be in responsibility of anybody or anything. The only person you have to care about is yourself. So this was the first time in my life I was able to put myself above everyone else. It's like I am the most important person in my life, you know? And I think that everyone should think that way, because if everyone do think that way, we're gonna put ourselves first. And if we do that, we're gonna give ourselves more energy so that we have more energy to give to others, right? We need to pour from a full cup. We cannot pour from an empty cup. So moments like these in solitude, being by myself, that is when I can be the most productive, the most creative. I can listen to my inner world. I can be in silence. I can sit and meditate for 4 hours if I want to. I can do some stretching. I can go for a walk on the beach. I can think. I can reflect. I can go inward. I can do all these things that make me a better man. It lets me make friends with all the demons. And actually, me and my demons right now, we have a massive party because I love my demons. The things that have happened in the past that I used to absolutely hate myself for are the absolute best things I have ever experienced in my life. My darkness is better than my light because my darkness has been the best teacher. If you want to rip pages from your past, right? It doesn't make any sense because that is what makes the story worth a read. Right? It is when you become familiar with your darkness, when you become best friends with your darkness, that your light is going to shine even brighter, right? It's about making your darkness into light. It's about shining light on your darkness. And this can only happen, in my opinion, if you spend time by yourself. That's why solitude is so important. That's why embracing change, uncertainty is so important, because change and uncertainty comes from within when you start facing your darkness, right? Because you're opening yourself up to change. You're opening yourself up to a better future by going into a period or a place, a space in yourself that you don't like, that you rather want to push away and have undone. So the only way out of trauma, the only way out of bad emotions, or there's no such thing as bad emotions, but uncomfortable emotions, is by going into them, by inviting courage into your heart and embracing everything about yourself, embracing your flaws, embracing your insecurities, embracing your weaknesses, you know, and turn those into strengths. It's like, you can almost like, you wanna get to that part where you can walk around and brag about your insecurities, you know? Because that is what makes us authentic. That is what makes us, you know, the best we can at being ourselves. If we can become fully authentic, if we can own absolutely everything that has happened in our life, we will be the most comfortable ever. It's like nobody can fuck with us then, because we can do whatever we want. If somebody's poking our insecurities or flaws or weaknesses and say, oh, you always do that stuff, you're so this and that. Yeah, I know. Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna try and work on that, you know. Or just say, cool, you think that way, I'm gonna think in my way, you know, right? So embracing change, embracing uncertainty, embracing solitude, that is where we're gonna find healing, you know, being comfortable being with our demons. And what we wanna do as well is that we want to look for more demons. Right now, if I wanna do like more shadow work or something, which is basically familiarizing ourselves with our darkness and the things that we don't like about ourselves, that is shadow work, by healing that, bringing that into light. I actually look for things from my past. Say, for example, that I said something stupid in class when I was 12, you know, and people laughed at me, and I feel a bit of shame for that still, because that happens. It gets stored. Those memories get stored. Those are the memories that we revisit and think, oh, well, I was so stupid. Why did I say that when I was 12 in class? Who cares about that, right? So what I have been doing for a long time is to look for things that is still bothering me. It's like, okay, where's this emotion coming from? Oh, it's coming from, I said something stupid in class when I was 12. Okay, let's heal that. Let's relax our body. Let's sit there with that pain and just invite that in. Who cares about something I said almost 20 years ago, but it's still there. So, okay, let's make friends with that memory and let that go, you know? So, this is why change, certainty, solitude is so important. Because it will push us in the direction of healing. It will push us in the direction of, this is what you need to do. Because these things will naturally come up. These things will run after you forever. There's a quote that I like, and that is that you cannot drown your demons because they will just learn how to swim. You can keep running forever, and the demons are always going to chase after you until you turn around and you face them with some courage, obviously. You give your demons some love and attention and compassion, and you say to yourself that I've always done exactly what I was meant to do. If that thing wouldn't have happened, I wouldn't have had the courage enough to face this right now. I wouldn't be pushed in this direction to be able to heal this. Because things that we are hurt by in the past will always give us the opportunity to heal that, to get over that. So we get the experience of actually helping people with similar situations in the future, in our life, right? That is what it's for. To be able to create compassion and empathy and relatability between people and help people and spread ripple effects and create a better world. So I've been rambling on for a while now, but I'm very happy to be back because this is what I love doing. Just sitting, talking to the camera, long format content, petting a little bird. That was amazing what I just did. He's still there now. Maybe I can do this. Hey buddies. Hey, you're not gonna attack me, are you? You look like you're a little bit angry at me. This is actually the craziest thing I've ever seen. That they're actually this close. Wow. Can I give you a little pet? Can I? Yeah. Hey, buddy. Hey. Now, lesson from this video. Embrace uncertainty, embrace change, embrace solitude in your life. You don't have to be scared of fear. You don't have to be afraid of your own demons because they want your love and attention. You just have to turn around and face them, right? Me and the Kookaburras, we say thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.